Hello and welcome, as it is the completion of the 24th day of January 2020. My name is Derek and welcome to the Money Charts channel. Let's take a look at some silver and gold charts. All bets, trades of the like with each his own risk and their own reward. $23.78. Now gold has been by far the more superior looking chart, although for today silver did better in Canadian dollar terms, up about 2%, as it's been holding this first level that it's supported established, as it came up to it on Boxing Day to the resistance of 23.60, well, basically a little under where we are now, but the support that it came down to at the end of the year at 21 and low change, 21.13 area, it was retested a couple more times, and well, so far so good. But it's day today after these two in here. That's pretty interesting. You had so many support levels. Usually if you're going to get weak support, as I like to call it, that means you're probably going to not get much over like 23.50. No. And then it even closes and gets above many days at the 23 and 2/3. So to me, this looks very, very interesting. Is this a successful correction? Because we've been making several of these higher lows in here, looking at it from this point of view. On the monthly chart, well, after this down move, there was an attempt to break it higher. Failed. But it's successfully held its established support that it had from 2013 through 2016. And here we are attempting it again. This was a statement made at the second half of last year. And then the sideways consolidation, and it looks like right now it's starting to potentially make a move above. And well, this is where we get weak resistance. I don't like the chances that it's going to be good. And that is meaning it might not be such. Maybe all we do is just come back down to like 23 or in this area here where we meet up with the 18 average. Maybe we just consolidate back and forth and shop around, maybe between maybe we support like 24.20 and then that resistance of this level becomes support. And that's just, again, not good resistance. And then the potential on these breakouts, well, that can be pretty darn near good. Let's take a look at silver against the US fiat. And on its monthly chart, this is same sort of deal. I mean, this one's supporting nicely after the move, meaning it had an okay fall, but nothing too big. Hasn't extended the losses or another leg lower. And then, of course, the rally from these lows. And on the daily chart, that's the 8 hour. Let's just go right to daily. This one comes right up to the 18 average of highs. So where it came from, this little area, but again, holding nicely. It's a little level in here. It could have came down here, and it still can. So technically speaking, if this fails and we resist this area, the next target is something that has been one you've been waiting for, if you've been waiting for a while, because you knew breaking down in here, that's where it was going to go. Except, oh, it rallies up to here. Okay. Oh, looks like it's going to break down again, retested that level, but interestingly, after a couple weak signs in here, it did the opposite of what you thought it would have done today. And adjusting to the message of the market, type of day you have to do it. And okay, this could be pretty serious. I wouldn't be surprised if a follow-through does come in, and then, of course, the retest in that level there. When we take a look at this, I guess we already did the monthly. I want to do the quarterly is what I was looking for, and I have to get her this way. This is where, to me, it gets very interesting, because this little move in here was just an attempt to flatten with the band, and it ultimately couldn't do that, although close. Kind of did here, but the previous quarter that ended 2019, you see the 18 start to rise. It's only been 24 days of January, which means we're about a quarter of the way through the period. And when you're 25% through a period of any time frame, for the most part, it should already have decent formation transitioning already. So I like how the start of the year has went through. And on this long-term time frame, if you start to see, it's just not a surprise moving forward if we do get the 18 average starting to rise. And of course, an uptrend, and you're starting to talk about the $50 highs. And interestingly here, I would state this again as not good resistance, but not good resistance means okay, we come up here, we could come back down and lose only half its value. I don't think that would happen, but I think that would be like, well, this would be the most hold area. So 61.8%, this little base area, I mean, that's still pretty decent. So it's not the strongest of weak resistance, but I do realize, especially with market conditions, knowledge that people are gaining on fiat currency and how much this has been really grinded down throughout the years, that a huge set of volatility and big gains happens when it gets above it. But before that could even come close to existing, it's even got to get into an uptrend. That's all this is trying to do within that of the weekly chart. Again, on the daily, let's just take a look at the shorter term. And I'm going to use it on the different exchange because I got some Fibonacci lines on there as well. Okay, there we have it. And take a look at the single hour today. So if I just scroll it this way, after hitting this 1876 mark from the high, which is placed on January the 7th, 2.5 weeks, establishing this level of support. But this was a very poor rally attempt, and weak support came in. It didn't support it at all. In fact, it resisted it, but it had a good run. It got above it. Ultimately, it retested previous high on 2 different occasions. It did so here. It did so here. And when it faltered hard. And it had many times to retest this level because we can see in here that it was looking like bad situation. Weak support for sure, where you're like, you know what, there's just no way it's going to get above like 1790, like 18 even. So this rally, I mean, that's not even close to 18, that's 1790. So here you see it breaking down. So this is when it was supposed to be like, oh boy, that would have been Thursday morning, 6 o'clock. This thing is looking very bearish. Now this looks very inverted head and shoulders like here. So it comes up, and from this rally, we can see that first of all, resistance should have came in at 1778, and it got all the way up to 1786 instead. Adjust to the message of the market. Things look to be changing. But you know what? That's fine. Sometimes you pierce away extra. There's no guarantee just because it came up here at this time that this was going to go up later. But we can see after the fact how it handled that particular move is that the support that it established big time at around 1774, that area, was successful. It had this one period here at 20 hours and this one here where it barely tried to break below it, but couldn't even do that. And then when it eventually got above it, what a fantastic move that has had for the whole day. And over the last few hours to end it, it has neutralized the situation, which means now that this move has happened, must hold areas now that 1785 point. And you can get a lot of volatile, choppy stuff back and forth before these things really get going, because the overall trend on this market right now, at least on the daily, is very, very neutral in the sense that 18 average is neutral daily from the correction from this move. But we're still having a correction from this key low to this key high. We're in the middle of that range. So until these things can start to have good breakouts on the daily chart, the weekly and the quarterly and all these things get going, then we're just going to have a lot of this weird chopping up and down and these whatever type of movements. And how long it takes, I think, for these things to get going, well, we'll see. Now, interesting, we look at silver on the daily chart here. That's not what gold looks like. Now, we can see for the day, silver was up against the US dollar 1.69%, but gold's chart's going to look a lot better. Didn't gain as much today. For it was up 0.55%. So the gold to silver ratio went down after it's pretty much been going up for most of the time, because we can see here how gold's chart has been looking so much nicer over what we can see here a little over a year, just by looking at this nice higher highs, higher lows, and how it worked within this both of these key Fibonacci points. I've talked a lot about them for years, especially for years on the 1321, and really for the whole year on this 1522, and for the whole year, because I was even saying back in here, yeah, if we're able to get above 1320, look for 1550 to be resistance, yada yada yada. Well, we successfully corrected this nicely for the point, and when it got broke out above it, a very nice concise move to that level. But how it corrected this for the second half of 2019, just magnificent. It did make some lower lows, but each lower low is barely lower than the last, and it barely filled any empty space, not even coming close to 3021. Yeah, I said it twice. Not coming close to coming close. See, this is right here. It didn't even come close to here, and it wasn't even close at 1400. So the price correction wasn't much, if any, at all. And there was all of this moves from here on the 18 average of highs from December the 13th, and the breakout occurred on December 23rd at exitation of the 18, and what a fantastic move it was. Getting up there on all the way up to January the 8th. And so far, we've been seeing a lot of nice strength, I think, within this highs. To me, this is looking like a very, very nice setup. Looking at this on a more longer term basis. But before we do that, let's take a look at this on the single hour. As a lot of the same similar stuff. Market goes up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's gotten by this level of resistance. Must hold area for gold pretty much is like 1561. Look at all this resistance in here. This is about 61.8%. It's a good correction, but a good amount down, which is more than half, but noticeably higher than what I'm looking at this low here. This higher low, then this higher low, this higher low, this higher low. What's the next one going to be? Lows and highs are known after the fact. Well, I know for sure this is the low. And it's got to go down a lot more right now to say that the next low is in. And what we do from here, it's either we do make that next low because we've established the support here. So if we go down, well, wherever it's going to be below here, 18 average of lows newly rising, a lot of resistance established that maybe this thing on starting the week off on Sunday night will just start to break out and get above this resistance. And if that happens, we're doing empty space talking or retracement from this low to this high. So we could talk about going up to like 1587 like it's nothing. That's like an 11-point move. That's almost 1%, which I guess, well, it's almost 1%. And gold. The interesting thing I want to talk about here with the longer term chart, I wish, and whatever, the old data, I wish I have a few more years before this. And I have the data myself, so it's not like I'd say I wish I have the data because I do have it. But I wish I could just show it to you easily. I guess I kind of could. I wish I remember I'm saying the same words over. It was in an uptrend, but what happened was gold was like illegal for like decades and decades and decades, as they basically took it away from them at the like 1933, that area. But back at this, as it was going up from $35 to like $250, I thought it was. They said, "Oh, by the way, gold is now like legal. You can buy it. You can own it. You can get the those paper notes we had. You can get. I don't know if they were legal before or not, but the real gold bullion metals you're now allowed to own. It was illegal to own it before, sort of like owning like marijuana or owning cocaine, I guess. Whatever. So prices went down. I just thought that was very interesting. And then the big move. Look at the magnitude of what can happen here. This low is 1976, and then for just a few years this thing goes from like $100 up to $850, and just a quick period of time. So you talk about silver could do, breaking its 50, yada, all that type of stuff. Well, who knows? But as far as history says, I've seen volatility before, and it wouldn't surprise me if major events similar, even bigger than this, could happen moving forward. So after this long correctionary phase, significant uprise, a complete decade and a bit more. Doesn't fill much of this empty space from this low to this high. An attempt to regain the trend here, not successful. Looking like a good setup to try to possibly break it. Nope, didn't even get above this. I mean, you can't talk about doing it, going bullish until you break this high now. And, oh no, breakdown. But successful correction. And like I say, you can't talk about any type of bullishness until you break it. Well, there's a break right there. And from that break, we've had 4 periods of the sideways action. Doesn't get to the 18, but close enough. And we can see how it's lifting off from this. It's gotten above this high marginally. That to me tells me the odds that the level from this low to this high will successfully have a great chance of correcting 61.8. If it does correct, that is. That's about as far as this goes, based on what I'm saying. And that would probably have a move testing this high where, well, like we mentioned, there could be something like this that could follow if it breaks past that near 2000 level. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.